education stakeholders, I wanted to take a moment this morning to thank you and congratulate you all from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations for your courage. Congratulations for your selflessness. Congratulations on your resilience. Because in the face of the security situation that the country has been experiencing for several years, you are among the most resilient actors of our nation. From the most remote areas under terrorist control. We receive reports from our fighters who inform us that very often the only state actors they encounter in these areas are either teachers or quite frequently health sector workers. Thank you for this resilience and unwavering determination. The role of the teacher is indeed a truly sacred duty. The role of the teacher is very complex. You may not realize it, but I am going to explain why and entrust you with new missions. Your role as a teacher is indeed very complex, in the sense that you must impart knowledge to the younger ones and educate them. Remember that a nation that indeed fails to educate its youth is truly doomed to disappear. This nation will never know peace, absolutely. Your role is very complex, because in addition to imparting knowledge, you must educate the children. You will have to be their parents. You must teach them good manners, what is right and what is wrong. You will need to instill the values of our society in them. I insisted, through the Minister of Education, that you visit the museum to reconnect with our cultural values. This is very important for you. And so we have values on which Burkina relies. Integrity, honesty. You must instill these values in the young people you mentor. At the same time, you become their parents. In addition to that, I wish for patriotic values to be instilled in the younger generation. Today, more than ever, our nation is facing difficulties it has never known in its history. And to overcome, we need to have patriots, citizens of tomorrow. And to have these citizens, these patriots, the role now falls to you. Train pioneers. Teach them to love their homeland. Teach them to have confidence in themselves. Teach them to love their neighbors. Teach them to live as Burkinabe. This mission now helps you to evolve. Teach them everything you can so that they become very good citizens of tomorrow and ensure the succession. Your role is indeed very complicated because you now have to play the psychologist. In your classes, you indeed have children who have lost everything. You have many children who have lost their parents, who have lost their families. You have children who have experienced atrocities. You have children who have witnessed heinous crimes, who are traumatized, who are in shock. You must act as psychologists. You must ensure that these children forget this violence, become themselves again, and instill in them everything they need to be the citizens of tomorrow. So understand why I say that your role is very, very essential and full of priestly duties.
In the heart of West Africa lies Burkina Faso, a nation known for its rich culture, turbulent history, and fierce spirit of resilience. But in the last few years, it's been the political stage of one particular figure whose rise has captivated the world, Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Traoré. Today, we dive into the story of how this young military leader rose from relative obscurity to become the face of change for one of Africa's most volatile nations. Ibrahim Traoré was born in 1988 in the capital city of Ouagadougou. He was raised in a country already grappling with the complexities of its post-colonial identity. Burkina Faso, like much of the Sahel region, has dealt with coups, instability, and economic challenges for decades. Traoré, however, would grow up to become a part of this history, yet with a new, revolutionary twist. As a young man, Traoré joined the military, where he quickly earned a reputation for his discipline, intelligence, and leadership. He was part of the country's elite forces and trained as a military officer, all while grappling with the growing threats of jihadist violence across the Sahel. By 2022, Burkina Faso was spiraling into chaos. The country, under President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore, was battling insurgencies and growing attacks from groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. The people were frustrated with the government's inability to protect them, and protests erupted. Amid this instability, Traoré was poised to play a pivotal role in the future of the country. In January 2022, after months of increasing violence and public discontent, soldiers led a coup that ousted President Kabore. The military, led by Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba, promised to restore security to the country. However, just 9 months later, in September 2022, another coup occurred. At the center of this second coup was Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Traoré. Traoré and his faction of the military argued that Damiba was failing to address the growing insurgency and had lost the trust of the people. After weeks of intense pressure, Damiba was deposed and Traoré assumed leadership of the country at just 34 years old. This move, though controversial, was celebrated by many who felt that Traoré's leadership was a necessary step toward restoring stability. His youth and military credentials appealed to many citizens, especially those who felt that a generational shift was needed in the country's leadership. Under Traoré's leadership, the country has been focused on one major goal: defeating the jihadist insurgents that have plagued the Sahel. One of his first actions was to prioritize national unity and national security over political infighting. Traoré's government made it clear that the fight against terrorism would take precedence. He also made significant efforts to rally Burkina citizens to the cause of national defense. In his speeches, Traoré often highlighted the importance of national sovereignty and self-reliance, appealing to both soldiers and civilians to take part in the fight. He has urged ordinary citizens to defend their communities and join in efforts to secure the country's borders, effectively mobilizing the masses to fight back against the insurgency. Despite facing immense challenges such as a limited military capacity, logistical issues, and international pressure, Traoré's rhetoric continues to be one of defiance and national pride. He has repeatedly stated that Burkina Faso must rely on its own resources and people to overcome the terrorist threat, rather than depend on foreign intervention. However, Traoré's rise has not been without criticism. While many Burkina citizens view him as a necessary change in leadership, there are others who are concerned about the way he is consolidating power. Human rights organizations have raised alarms about the military's treatment of political opponents, journalists, and activists. There have also been reports of the increasing suppression of dissent and growing authoritarianism under his rule. Internationally, the West has expressed concern about Burkina Faso's turn away from its traditional allies, particularly France. Traoré's government has been outspoken about distancing itself from former colonial powers, with calls to expel foreign troops and reduce the influence of Western nations. He's embraced partnerships with other countries in the region, as well as the Russian Wagner Group, a controversial paramilitary group known for its close ties to the Kremlin. While Traoré's government continues to push forward with its anti-terrorism agenda, the question remains: how long can his government sustain both the internal pressure to deliver security and the external pressures from the international community? Looking to the future, Ibrahim Traoré's leadership represents a crucial crossroads for Burkina Faso. His government faces enormous challenges: a mounting insurgency, the economic impacts of war, and the need to unify a deeply divided country. But it also represents a potential opportunity, a chance to forge a new path in the country's long history of military coups and political instability. Will Ibrahim Traoré be able to live up to the promises he has made to his people? Will he be able to secure Burkina Faso's future? Or will he be yet another leader caught in the web of a fractured nation? As the young leader navigates the difficult terrain of power, the world will be watching to see if he can deliver on his vision. Thank you for joining us in exploring the rise of Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso's new leader. As the situation continues to evolve, one thing is certain: his story is far from over, and the challenges he faces will shape not just Burkina Faso, but the entire Sahel region.